friends, it's Valerie. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to this week's What's for Dinner. If you are new here, welcome. I would love if you would hit that subscribe button and join my YouTube family. I put out What's for Dinner videos every Sunday, and this week I have 3 inspirational meals for you again. I also put out a video a couple days ago that is basically another What's for Dinner, but it is in a cookbook collab, so the recipes are all from a cookbook. And if you haven't checked that out already, don't forget to go ahead and check that out. So let's get started. This first meal is Instant Pot chicken tortilla soup. I'm starting off by dicing up half of an onion, and I was trying this little trick I saw where you put a wet paper towel near it, and that's supposed to help from like you having tears and such, because my eyes water up so bad when cutting onions, and I thought it was working, everything was fine until I got near the root, and whew, then it was a no-go. Next, I'm just placing 3 boneless chicken breasts that are frozen in the bottom of my Instant Pot. You can use fresh chicken if you want to. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in 4 cups of chicken broth onto that. I just made mine with Better Than Bouillon chicken. And then I'm going to go ahead and season this with 2 teaspoons of chili powder, 2 teaspoons of cumin, and a teaspoon of garlic salt. And now right on top of that, I'm going to add 1 can of rinsed and drained black beans, 1 can of Rotel, and then a can of corn that I went ahead and drained. It calls for a cup, I just added the whole can. And then I'm adding my diced onion in and a can of diced tomatoes. It called for like crushed tomatoes, I didn't have any, so I kind of just pulsed mine in my little Ninja cup there and put it in. Gonna put the lid on, and you're gonna go ahead and just cook that on manual high pressure for 30 minutes. While that was cooking, I just cut up some toppings I'd want, like cilantro and avocado. You can use any of your favorite taco style toppings. And once it's done, I just went ahead and pulled out that chicken, and I am just going to go ahead and shred it with 2 forks. You can do that any way that you like to, whether it be with your hand mixer or whatnot. It pretty much just falls apart. And once that's all shredded, just go ahead and put it back into the Instant Pot with all your other ingredients and give that a good stir. This is a point where you can also taste it, like if you need to add any salt. I did end up adding some salt. I don't know if I got that on camera, but I did add some salt. This isn't too overpowering in flavor. I know some people do add like a taco packet. I liked it this way, and I thought that adding just my own favorite hot sauce on top was like the perfect touch in the end, so that actually was really good, and we loved this soup. It was fabulous. I was actually eating this for days. Like, I don't like leftovers at all, but I was wanting this for lunch. Like, I was wanting all the leftovers. Like, it was really, really good. So I just put those toppings, some cheese, some sour cream, that cilantro and avocado, and then of course my favorite hot sauce, and I served this with some crushed tortilla chips just on there. I ended up going for more chips because it's actually really, really good with those chips. They add that nice like crunchy texture and a little bit extra salt. I tried to give you a little clip there of that hot sauce. It was a horrible little frame there, but I like the Valentine hot sauce, and I liked it with a lot of it on this. It was fabulous. I definitely recommend this soup. This next meal is a sweet potato and ground beef casserole. First, you're going to want to start off by dicing up 1 onion, and then to a large skillet I am putting in 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and then I'm going to go ahead and add in those diced up onions and cook those for about a minute. And then you're going to go ahead and add in garlic. It calls for 1 clove. I probably did like 2 to 3, somewhere in there, and just go ahead and add that in as well. And I started in and let it cook for like maybe like 30 seconds just till it became fragrant, and then you're going to go ahead and add in 1 pound of ground beef, and mine is still slightly a little bit frozen because I was defrosting it, but it's perfectly fine. I just break it up with my meat chopping tool, and it says to cook this for 2 minutes. You're kind of going to simmer it with like other things later on, and this is where I didn't really follow the recipe. It bothers me to like not see the meat like cooked through before adding in like tomatoes and things like that, because then I feel like you can't see that the meat is completely cooked through. And I know that simmering it for 15 minutes would probably cook the meat, but I couldn't do that, so I had to cook it all the way through first, or pretty much till I knew it was about to be all the way through. And then I added in 1 can of diced tomatoes with the juices, and now I'm adding in about a handful of chopped up parsley and just giving that all a good stir. The recipe calls for 2 medium sweet potatoes and 4 medium regular potatoes. And it calls for boiling them. I'm just going to go ahead and cook mine in the Instant Pot. It's just my preferred method. It's quick, easy, and I don't have to pay attention to it really, and I just prefer that. And I also use 3 potatoes instead of 4 because I had a very large sweet potato, so I looked up like what the ounces are per medium sweet potato, and mine were more. And if I make this recipe again, which I will make, I'm going to cut out the regular potatoes and just use like more sweet potatoes. I think I would like that even better. And now they're done, and I'm just going to go ahead and mash those all up. And then you're going to need to add in 4 ounces of mascarpone cheese, and just add that in. It's if you don't have mascarpone cheese, you can substitute cream cheese. And I'm giving that a quick little stir just to kind of combine it a little bit before adding in some of this juice from the meat. It says to ladle in a couple of spoonfuls of the liquid from the meat. I added a couple extra because that wasn't that big of a spoon. Then just season that with salt and pepper to taste. Give it all a good stir and just make sure it has enough seasoning for your liking, enough salt, of course, because this is potatoes. And now I am just taking some butter, and I'm going to go ahead and spread it across my 9x13 baking dish, and then you're just going to go ahead and pour in that beef mixture to the bottom of your dish. If yours is too liquidy still, you can cook that down a little bit longer if you need. Just going to go ahead and spread that along the bottom into an even layer, and then I'm going to go ahead and spoon out all of that sweet potato mixture on top. Best you can, and just smooth it on out. I try to like make smaller spoons so that like I don't disturb that layer of meat. I want it to stay pretty on the bottom. So yeah, just go ahead and spread that all out. And next it asks for 2 tablespoons of breadcrumbs on top, plain breadcrumbs. I didn't have any plain, so I just used this panko that I had here, and I'm actually using 3 tablespoons. I wanted a little bit extra of that layer of crunch on top. And then it calls for 2 tablespoons of butter, just kind of like broken up and spread across the top, some little dollops of butter. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we're going to go ahead and bake this at 375 degrees and bake that for 15 to 20 minutes. And that's the salad that I was serving with this. It was like an Asian cashew salad, or Thai cashew salad, and it was so good. It was my first time having that salad, so if you like salad kits like that, you should check that out. This is it out of the oven. I broiled it for a couple minutes to get a little bit of color on the top, and this was really good. I liked it. It felt very healthy, but like I said, I definitely would want to sub out the regular potatoes and make it all sweet potatoes. I just feel like I would have liked that better. It would have just had a more distinct sweet potato taste, which I like. You can also use ground turkey in place of the ground beef if that's something you're interested in, and we definitely like this meal. This last meal is that viral feta pasta from TikTok, and I just had to try it out for myself. So you're going to take 2 pints of cherry tomatoes. I washed those, and I'm going to place them in the bottom of a 9x13 pan and just drizzle them with olive oil, season them with some salt and pepper, and just don't go too crazy with your salt, because you have to remember that feta is a salty cheese and it can be saltier depending on the brand. So you can always add a little salt later on if you need it. Next, I'm just taking a piece of foil, and I'm going to place garlic in the middle of it. I didn't take the peelings off. Normally I do, but I was testing something out because I've never done that before. And I just drizzle them with olive oil, and you're going to make a little pouch. Just close it up. I'm going to add that into the pan, and it's going to roast along with it all. You don't have to do this. You could unpeel your garlic and place it in there. I just find that roasted garlic tastes so much better, and because it's not a long time that it's going to be in there, the foil and the casings on the garlic will help it steam up and roast a little quicker. That's the feta I'm using. It is a tomato basil flavored feta. Now I'm just going to drizzle some more olive oil on top of that block of feta, and also going to go ahead and season that with some oregano, as well as with a little bit of Italian seasoning. I'm going to go ahead and bake that at 400 degrees for 30 minutes. And while that was baking up, I just went ahead and cut up some fresh parsley. No real amount, just a small handful of fresh parsley. You can omit this if you don't have it. I think the original recipe just calls for some fresh basil, but I thought both sounded pretty good and I had both on hand, so I went ahead and chopped that up, as well as chopping up some fresh basil. I also am going to go ahead and boil up my pasta. You can choose whatever pasta you want. I chose bow tie pasta, and you're going to cook up about 8 ounces. I did about 9. I wanted a little extra pasta, and I just cooked that to al dente. And now that this is out of the oven, I'm going to have to remove those casings, which was kind of easy with some, but they were hot. They would have been easy if they weren't so hot, of course, like if I let them cool a bit, but I didn't have time for all that. So I'm just kind of like prying open the case with my tongs and knife here. Some of them are way easier than others, again, because I can't really grip them easily. And yeah, just going to go ahead and do that with all those garlic. And now you're just going to smash all of this up. And I'm just using my silicone fork for that. I did decide to bring in a little like actual regular fork just to do the garlic, to make sure that I can get that broken up into some way smaller pieces, because I wanted that to spread out more evenly. And the rest of it all is way easier with the silicone fork. Just the tomatoes are going to be kind of crushed up with that, and you're going to spread out that feta pasta and just kind of all mix that all together until everything is well incorporated. And then go ahead and add in your fresh parsley and basil and just give that all a good stir. And then I went ahead and drained my pasta, and I'm going to go ahead and add it in there. I added only like around what would have been the 8 ounces. I didn't want to put too much before making sure that everything was going to be like enough like tomatoes to cover all the pasta. So I kind of mixed it all together, and then I gave it a taste, and I was like, okay, I could use up the rest of that pasta. So 9 ounces did work. So this way I was able to spread out a little extra pasta for us. I put a little bit of like a Parmesan Romano cheese on top of the pasta after, with a little bit of red pepper chili flakes. I made some just frozen garlic toast, and I air fried some asparagus just because I was craving them. We really love this pasta. We're pasta lovers in general, though, so it was just nice to have like a nice plate of pasta and garlic bread. And I'm telling you, those asparagus, oh, I've been all about them recently. So I hope that you guys enjoy this, and thanks so much for watching. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that little bell so you don't miss out on any future What's for Dinner videos. And I hope you all are having an amazing week.